So today I'm going to be walking you through setting up Cairo for your local machine for Windows users. There are 3 prerequisites for doing that. First, you're going to need to install WSL, which is Windows Subsystem for Linux. Also, you're going to install ASDF, which is a tool manager. So for example, you could think of it as similar to Node version manager in the sense that it helps you to have different versions of the same tool in different projects. And lastly, we are going to install Scarb, which is Cairo's package manager. Scarb is basically the equivalent of npm but for Cairo. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's begin by installing WSL on our local machine. All you have to do is tap on the start button and search for PowerShell. When you find that, you click on Run as Administrator and enter the following command: WSL -- install, like so, and click enter. So after this is done, all you have to do is reboot your system, and that's basically it. After running WSL install and restarting your PC, you have to install a distro by running wsl.exe-d and the name of the distro. So I'm going to be using Ubuntu. If you would like to use any other one, you can do that. So it's prompting me to create a default Linux account. Let's just start with G and create a password. So basically, Ubuntu has been installed. That is all for WSL. Next on the agenda is installing ASDF. So you have to go to their website, which is ASDF-VM.com. ASDF-VM.com, which is here. So once the page loads, you click on the guide section, and from here it's pretty much it's actually really easy to install from here on out. But let's continue. So we are going to go with the package manager, installing with the package manager, which is recommended. So as we can see here, we can either use Homebrew or Pacman. So if you're going to use Pacman, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's just run this. But for this guide, I'm going to use Homebrew. So first, we are going to have to install Homebrew. You can just do a quick Google search. Just go to Homebrew install and go to the home page and copy this. So it says here to paste this command in your Linux shell prompts, which is Ubuntu that we have installed. So you search for Ubuntu on here and paste the command. After installing Brew, you have to run these steps to add Homebrew to path. So you copy this in a new Ubuntu terminal. This also, and this. Let's just copy everything together. we should also install build essential. And GCC if you want to. It's not really necessary. I don't think it's necessary, but if you want to install it, you can. So now that we have Homebrew installed, we can carry on with the installation of ASDF. I'll just run this brew install ASDF. Let's restart the Ubuntu shell. So basically that's it with installing ASDF. So now we're going to configure it. So in order to configure ASDF, we have to copy the following and add it to our bash profile. So this is how to do that. You're going to type nano space home/dot/bash underscore profile. So it opens the file for you, and then you paste that command there. When you paste the command there, then you can exit. Click on Y to see it. Press enter, and then you can restore. You can restart the file by saying source home/bash underscore profile. So basically you have configured your ASDF, and that is the end of the core installation. So if you would like to, you can follow the example to install Node.js. You can follow the rest of the guide to install Node.js as an example, or if you would like to better understand it. So basically that's the second prerequisite that we've covered. We've installed WSL first, and now we have installed ASDF. So next we'll be installing Scarb. Go to your browser and type into the search bar docs.swmansion.com/scarb. Press enter. When the page loads, click on the link to the download page, and then click on install via ASDF. So you can see that ASDF is coming in handy to make our work much easier now. So from here, we copy this command to add the Scarb plugin, and we paste it in our shell, our Ubuntu shell. So after that runs, we can decide to list all the installable versions, and from there pick which version to install. Okay, this is version 0.16.2. But I would recommend that you install the latest one actually. So copy this command ASDF install scarb latest and run it in our shell. You can see that the latest version is 2.9.2. Then it's 2.9.2. Okay, so it shows that the installation has been successful. So after installing it, we have to set Scarb version 2.9.2 globally as our recognized version on our PC throughout all our projects. So that's what we paste here, and that is successful. And basically that is it for installing Scarb. So you can see that ASDF comes in really handy. To check that we have installed it successfully, you can run Scarb --version to fix this issue where Scarb --version is not returning a version. We could open this file here and enter this. That would ensure that this version of Scarb is recognized on our machine. So we can type in nano and put in the name of this directory, home/j/.2 versions, and then we just paste this in and exit, Ctrl X and C. So let's try running that again. But first, let's restart. Let's open it to them. Run source home/bashrc. This is equivalent to restarting the terminal, but for some reason, as I restarted my terminal, the effects did not apply. So let's try that again. Run Scarb --version, and then you can see that it has successfully been installed. So with Ubuntu, one thing we should probably keep in mind is that after any installation, you should run this command. It's really important, or just exit the whole app. For the last part of the video, we're going to be ensuring that we have Cairo installed properly, and we're going to be setting up a basic Cairo project. So go to your browser and in the search bar type cairolang.org. When it loads, click on the Get Started button. When you click on that, you'll notice that we have already installed Scarb and ASDF as stated here. So we're going to jump right in to running this command. So you open your terminal and run the command there. I have already run the command personally, and I've opened it on vscode. Basically, it is all set up. One last thing, I would encourage you to install the Cairo extension. So it helps with your, what the Cairo extension does is it helps with your auto complete features, and it just makes your work easier basically. Yeah, so this is it. So to run the basic project as it is, all you have to do is run Scarb. All you have to do is run Scarb Cairo 1. That should be all. Thank you.
Today we'll be looking at installing Scarb and Starknet Foundry on Linux. For this installation of Scarb and Starknet Foundry, one of the requirements you need, the first requirement actually, is to install Git. And then installing Git depends on the Linux based operating system you are using. So if it's a Debian based operating system like your Ubuntu your Kubuntu, your Lubuntu, and some others that are Debian based, you can always use the aptitude package manager, which is called apt, to install Git. While if you are making use of the Red Hat enterprise based Linux, example your Fedora and other ones, right, you can always use the DNF. So depending on what you are making use of. So I right now, this my operating system is Fedora based, that is Red Hat enterprise Linux based. So I'm going to use this command. I'll just copy and paste. So a link to this repo will be provided to you so that you don't actually need to do anything. Yeah, so and now why we are installing Scarb is because without Scarb you cannot run the Cairo programming language and also the smart contract written in Cairo. So Scarb is more like a manager for your Cairo language and all of that. And then your Starknet Foundry has two very important tools that is used on the Starknet ecosystem, your SNForge and your SNCast. So with time you get to know what these tools are about. So as you can see, the installation is ongoing, installation of Git. So installation is complete. To check whether Git is installed, you can run git-v. So you can see that means Git is installed. So the next step is to install ASDF. Now ASDF is actually a package manager that now you can also install Scarb using other means, but it's always advisable to use ASDF because with ASDF it's very easy to manage different versions of Scarb, right? So now the next command you run is this command. Now this command is for those that are using Z shell, but if you are using Z shell, you have to run this first command first before coming to run this second command. And this second command, even for those using Z shell, is not really compulsory. So whether you're on Z shell or on Bash shell, just make sure you run this first command. It's going to do the work for you. So I'll copy the command and then I'm going to run it. So for those that have Z shell, you don't actually need to bother. Once you see this is more like a false negative, right? So that's more like this error. Don't bother about the error, just forget about the error. The most important thing is that this thing, you have this here like this. So now we can confirm if ASDF have been installed version. So you can see we now have ASDF installed. So the next thing is to install Scarb. We'll copy this command. So the first one, we add Scarb as a plugin. The second one, we install the latest. Now here you can replace this latest with any version of Scarb you want. And then here you make the Scarb global so that anywhere you are, you'll be able to access that particular Scarb. So always take note in case you want to install Scarb of maybe you're working on a project that requires Scarb of let's say 2.2. Instead of latest here, what you are going to have is ASDF install Scarb 2.2. So take note of that. So I'm going to copy and then paste and run. So you can see Scarb installation successful. So you can check using Scarb -- version. So you can see means Scarb have been installed. And you can see we have Scarb, we have Cairo, and we have Sierra. So now the next command is to install our Starknet Foundry, still using the ASDF. Now in a situation where you want to install a particular version of Starknet Foundry, instead of latest here, you change it to the version of your choice. Let's say you want to install the version 1.5. What you just need to do is ASDF install Starknet Foundry, then 1.5. all right. Else if you need the latest, you just use latest. So I'll copy this command and then come here and paste it. So you see Starknet Foundry has been installed. So next thing is to check for the version. So you copy this and you paste. Now you can see both SNForge and SNCast version is working. So it means that the Starknet Foundry installation is successful. So this is all you need to get started with your with writing Cairo and also Starknet smart contract using Cairo programming language.
How to install ASDF, Scarb, and Starknet Foundry. Yes, these are the basic tools you need. So as you can see in my terminal here, the command is not found. So now we'll be going to the official website, which is this. This is the official website for downloading ASDF. So if you go to the website, you see something like this. Under this getting started pre 0.16.0. So here you download ASDF using the Git. I believe you have Git installed. So you copy it and you paste. Yes, so it has finally installed. There's one more step needed. As you can see, if I type my ASDF version, actually when after downloading using the Git, in case your ASDF versions, the version doesn't show like this over here, you go here. I believe if you're using bash, you can go under bash git. So you go to zsh and git, yes, over here. Then you copy this and paste into your zsh RC. So you copy it like this. Type nano, this thing over here. Then enter. Then you can go to any of the lines here, then paste. Oh no, not this. You copy this. Yes. Then you Control X, Y, then enter. Then you have to restart your terminal, so you cancel it, then restart. So by here, when you press your ASDF version, it should give you the version. Now we want to install Scarb, and we also have to install Starknet Foundry. So if you go to your Cairo book, you see the installation guide on how to install Scarb using ASDF. So here it is, ASDF plugin add Scarb. You add this. Yes, then you set it. After adding the plugin, you install the version Scarb. So this is what you'll be doing most of the time. Sometimes if you enter a project or a repo, their Scarb version might not be 2.9.2, it might be 2.8.7. So you also just change the version over here to a 2.8.7. As you can see, the Scarb has been successful. But if you type this, yes, this is 2.9.2. If you have two Scarbs installed like 2.8.4, 2.9.2, what you need to do is to set one of them global. Now I'll advise you setting it global than setting it local. Global is, if you set it global using this command here, it will set it to use ASDF will set it to use the Scarb of version 2.9.2 all over, that is globally, that is all repos. Yes, but to enter a repo and say, okay, I want to use just 2.8.4 in this repo, you can set it local there. Although if you're working with Cairo 1 and Scarb, it might give you a little problem. That's why I advise you to first set it global before opening the repo. And if the repo uses a different version of what you use, what you set global, you can check the version, set it global, close your IDE, then reopen your IDE. Then the Cairo language server will start working very, very well. So copy the global this thing here, paste, then that's been set global. So when you do Scarb version, you should just get 2.9.2 instead of the 2 versions they showed above. So yes, Scarb, he downloads this Scarb, Cairo, and Sierra. So now we are going to enter Starknet Foundry. So let's go to their website. Search the Starknet Foundry book. Install Starknet Foundry. Yes, these are the codes here. So you copy this, just very easy. Paste to add the plugin. Once you've added the plugin, you install the latest, or if there's any version you have in mind, you can edit it, remove this latest here, then put the version. Yes, it has been successful. What we're going to do now is to set it global. Yes, so to check if it was actually successful, you type smforge version. There you go. So once you install ASDF, that is the main thing. Any other tool you want to install, maybe Katana, Dojo, Starknet DevNet. Yes, especially Starknet DevNet. You can just use this method. Thank you very much.